Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. It's Alyssa Corum here with Ed Carson, and on today's show, we're going to be taking a look at the charts of Gilead as well as Apple and Netflix. But first, let's take a look at the major indexes. So here's a chart of the NASDAQ, which led the market higher today, closing up about 3.6% for the day. The S&P 500 up 2.7%, the Dow with a strong gain as well. And looking at this tech-heavy index, Ed, we are knocking on the door of 9,000 already.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. We always talk about it. You don't come right back up like you go back down, but we seem to be almost at that trajectory. Not quite there. Really impressive. And it was broad-based. You see the S&P and the Dow, they're well above their 50-day lines. Yesterday's sell-off in growth stocks seems so long ago. A lot of stocks back in buy zones are setting up really strong action. There was the Gilead drug news that we'll talk about the Gilead stock, but this Gilead drug news, we've had back and forth news on this drug, but it's, there was once again positive news about the drug, about treating coronavirus patients, maybe a faster recovery for a lot of patients, depending on the severity of their disease. There is Google earnings, strong cloud revenue, fairly resilient advertising. The Fed said we're going to keep on going. Oil prices were rebounding because inventories weren't so low. There was just lots of reasons, and the investors went on all of them.
Yeah, that's right. And let's go ahead and take a look at Gilead's chart, the ticker there, GILD. A big move here today, up about 5.7%. Heavy volume, of course. But as you can see, I mean, Gilead's been holding above this 50-day line, but it has been somewhat range bound and pretty volatile with all of the news and headlines surrounding coronavirus.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, you can sort of see that there's a handle there. This consolidation is almost 6 weeks long. It's almost proper. I mean, I suppose if it goes above that handle, which is pretty close to the high, you could treat that as a buy point. It does have earnings tomorrow. I don't know how much people are really going to be keying off the earnings as opposed to anything on coronavirus. I mean, this drug could get emergency use, so you could see it rolling out very quickly. There was a lot of positive news. Maybe if you take a look at the weekly, it looks a little better. It doesn't look quite as wild. It has been somewhat range bound. It's been holding that 50-day, 10-week line, but it would be really difficult. I think if you bought this, on a breakout, you'd really want to size your position knowing that this stock could really reverse hard, and you'd almost have to expect some kind of wild action that might shake you out. So definitely position, your positions accordingly.
Yeah, not for the faint of heart at all. But let's take a look at Apple now, because the tech giant is breaking out, staging a breakout over a cup with handle today. But it does have earnings right around the corner, Ed, on Thursday. So what do you make of the breakout here and the timing of it?
Yeah, the timing isn't great. I mean, let's just face it, you don't want to be buying ahead of earnings. Luckily, I guess you could say it closed back below the buy point. I'll be honest, when earnings come out, this stock is going to rise 5%, fall 5%, or maybe more. I mean, we don't know. There's a lot of uncertainty, and they may not have much certainty, going forward. I don't know. And what will they say about 5G phones? Some earnings have come off very well, some have not, and it's just better to wait. Either if you want to buy ahead of time, do it on an earnings option strategy where you buy options, where you can accept the loss. You assume that the loss will go away, and you're hoping to get most of the rewards, but cap your loss at a reasonable amount. Or you can buy the earnings gap. Let's say it gaps up to 300 or 315. You could still buy that, and if it drops to 250, well, then you haven't gotten into that.
Exactly. All those earnings related buying strategies we're talking about on IBD Live, but also for the options, we do have our earnings preview column. And so some interesting strategies there for sure to consider with Apple's earnings report right around the corner. And another big tech name that has earnings out of the way is Netflix. Now, we saw a pretty significant move for the streaming giant heading into its report, and hasn't really seen a further explosion of gains since reporting earnings, but some interesting action today with an upside reversal at that 21-day exponential line, that green line on the chart here, Ed. So a compelling move today.
Yeah, and it came down basically to the top of its base, or the top of the handle of this giant base, however you want to look at it. That was sort of an actionable, that old high was a buy point, or the handle. Either way, it came back into a buy zone. And we often say, don't buy on weakness. You don't like it when a stock falls into a buy zone, but if it does, you maybe buy it when it comes back up. And so as it rebounded from a natural area of support, that would sort of provide an action opportunity, depending on what you consider the buy point, because it may be extended again, or at the edge there. But it was definitely, it's nice to see that upside reversal. Maybe you can form a flat base here, or some kind of consolidation, and from another opportunity to buy. But it was definitely positive action, because the stock had been pulling back. So definitely anybody holding on to it got a little bit of encouragement today.
Exactly, because I think if it would have closed at session lows, quite a different story here,
Yes.
back below that round number 400, below that 21-day line, essentially a round trip.
Hmm.
If you were using a buy point just around 394. So again, we like to see this upside reversal here. So we'll keep track of Netflix stock from here, as well as the plethora of names that are still set to report earnings this week. There's quite a few of them still, aren't there, Ed? I mean, Apple on Thursday.
Yeah,
So
Apple on Thursday, Amazon tomorrow night, Atlassian. There's a whole bunch coming out. There's a whole bunch tonight, a whole bunch tomorrow morning. This is the big week. These 2 days are just pretty crazy.
yeah, and as we've been seeing with this rally, a lot of setups of high quality names. So it's definitely the time to be tuning into IBD Live, where we analyze all of these setups and earnings moves for you so you can make good trading decisions.
That's right, and you're answering a lot of great questions too, as well. And we try to get to as many as possible on the air and off. And I guess, and you'll be on air on Friday, but you're always here today. I'm always providing this insight.
Yeah, yeah. So we hope you join us tomorrow morning on IBD Live. We look forward to seeing you there, investors.com/IBD Live. And we'll also see you right back here after the close tomorrow. Thanks for watching.